Blessed ones of the nations of the world. One more time, thus is your brother Dan Moses, or say your Sakodie of TRC, Ghana, coming to you with the continuation of our exposés, Testimony, New World, Disorder. We have seen exposés part 183, 184, and parts 185. This is 185, which is going to be what to do. Humanity and the nations of the world. Akwaba to the program, Testimony, New World, Disorder, and Akwaba to what to do. We have been under cyber attack by the terror government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo. In expose part 184, in the middle of it, we were getting to the end of the recording of the expose. So we were attacked, and they have totally attacked our recording system, and we are unable to record with our usual system. So we are working with what God has given us by recording this, what to do from a different means. So Akwaba to the program, Testimony, New World, Disorder. Blessed ones of the nations of the world. You know, like we are there for whoever God calls us to be there for as members of the human race, and we would want to be there for the noble people of Nigeria, for their love for me throughout this many years of struggle. We, as from this week, are going to bring to the noble people of Nigeria some understanding as to the hatred by the tribalists of Ghana, the terror government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo, which led to the cowardly secret killing of noble reverend ministers of Nigeria and actors, those of the movie industry, killing them in the year 2021 in secrecy, while the government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo and Joe Biden unleashed their terror against me. We have gotten to understand as to how he sat as the ECOWAS chair, Nana Addo Akufo Addo, and was with the evil forces in America, were unleashing, tearing down West African states, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea. While that went on, they have at the same time set me a Christian, a Muslim, and a Judaist, a Jewish, an Israeli, a Muslim, and a Christian against each other, hoping that we would destroy each other while they divert our attention from the medical terrorism and the cowardly secret killing of the innocent people of Ghana. So while that went on, they were at the same time unleashing cowardly secret killing of the noble people of Nigeria, actors, those of the movie industries, and in the Christian faith, ministers of God. So we shall, as from this week, begin to unfold that to us. But for now, what to do? So Nigeria, we are with you. God is with you. Africa is with you. Humanity and the nations of the world is with you against the terror government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo. Their evil of the cowardly secret killing of the Ghanaian people, journalists, politicians, diplomats, young and old, which they brought to Nigeria cowardly in secrecy in the year 2021, leading to the loss of so many of your actors, those of the movie industry, and your ministers in the nation, we shall get them exposed. So I call about to the program, testimony, the world is right. What to do? We are still in the book of John. Book of John. What to do, humanity, is to accord human life with the due dignity and not destroy life, trample down on human life like the coward secret killers of Ghana, of the Nana Addo Akufo terror network, like Joe Biden and his administration, like the forces in America who have dealt with humanity so treacherously, killing innocent Ghanaians, and they are making noise of COVID-19, making noise of Russia, Ukraine, to divert humanity's attention from the heinous crime. That is not what we have to do. What we have to do is to value life, dignify life, and accord life with the due dignity. That is what we are saying. We are going to John chapter 12. John 12. Yes. God is counting them on the mind. With John chapter 12. Whatever they think is up to them. But we are holding to the word of God. John chapter 12, verse 3 downwards. Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with odor of the ointment. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? Did we hear that? Okay. This he said, not that he cared for the poor. Underline that. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief. Because he was a thief and had the bag and bore what was put therein. What we are going to receive today, we are taking it contextually. We started from John 12, verse 1. We have gone, before you get what the Lord wants to teach us here, we need to take it contextually, so we understand exactly what the Bible is saying. So I read on. So after Judas has spoken his nonsense, Jesus responded to Judas. Let's hear this. Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against the day of my burying has she kept thus. For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always. I will take this again. Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against the day of my burying hath she kept thus. For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always. That is the end of the reading. Thanks be to God. Blessed ones of the nations of the world. Akufo to the program. Testimony, the world is right. Jesus was getting honored with a feast in the home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. When Mary had broken an alabaster box of oil, have anointed the feet of Jesus and have wiped the feet of Jesus with her hair, Judas, that hinders the joy, that hinders the serene atmosphere, that hinders the conducive atmosphere, the mode of excitement, that Judas rose against the joy of the disciples and was questioning why was the ointment not sold and given to the poor. Humanity and the nations of the world. Akufo to the program, Testimony, New World. We are going to dwell on Jesus' answer to Judas. You must remember that Jesus was directly answering to Judas Iscariot's total nonsense. And he said to him, let Mary alone, because she had kept that box of ointment for his burial, for the burial of Jesus. And as for Judas, the poor has always been with Judas. Jesus was not approving, was not endorsing for us to accept poverty in the society, poverty in the nation, poverty in the church, poverty in the community. Jesus was not endorsing poverty. We must remember that the Bible prior to that has told us that Judas said that the box of ointment should have been sold and the money given to the poor, not because Judas cared for the poor, but because Judas was a thief. And then Jesus responded to him that way. So we must first understand that Jesus was directly responding to Judas to let us know that Judas Jesus was into a ministry where people donate to the cause of Jesus, donate to the charity ministry of Jesus, to the point that a little child had to also donate his bread to Jesus. And Jesus blessed the bread, 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and used it to feed 5,000 and didn't waste any. And there was a surplus of 12 baskets. Humanity and the nations of the world, by Jesus telling Judas that, Judas, the poor, you have always had the poor with you. Jesus wanted to understand that he had the money bag, the bag for their ministry, the offering bowl. Judas was in control of that. That which those that believed in the Lord and his ministry have donated, have offered for the cause of the ministry, Judas was handling it. And yet, though Judas was supposed to have used the money to support the cause of the poor, to help the needy, to help the rejected and the dejected, Judas have chosen to be stealing them, diverting the money for his own cause, robbing from Jesus. Did we hear that? In other words, Jesus was telling us that in our time, your time, my time, just like he himself, his ministry, a charity ministry, feeding the poor and the needy of society, helping the sick and the blind, we would have people who would pledge themselves in positions of charity in the society, would want us to think that they are taking money from us, from the society, from the community, from the people of the nation to help the cause of the poor, while at the same time they neglect, reject, cast aside the same poor for whose cause money had been taken from all kinds of people and and they will use the money and squander the money, just like Judas was doing. Did we hear that? I'm saying that Jesus was teaching us that we don't have to be like Judas, the thief, in the house of God. When people have given all kinds of offering, tithes, all kinds of monies to help the poor and to further the work of the church in the house of God, the money must be used for the support of the cause of the congregation, the people in the church. People that need help must be helped. The money must not be used by thieves to support their personal cause at the neglect of the helpless in the house of God. Because the money in the first place came from the benevolent, the generous, the cheerful giver to the cause of the church. Did you hear that? I'm saying that Jesus was teaching us that in order not for us to have the helpless, being helpless in the house of God, we must not have people pledging in the position of thievery in the house of God, robbing the people at their mercy to buy themselves airplane kinds of cars, build themselves mansions, while the blind, the lame, the helpless, who need a miracle of just the glasses or the crutches, to be helpless in the house. You didn't hear this. I'm saying that Jesus was teaching us that we don't have to trample down on the dignity of life in your nation, my nation, in the community, in the society, in such a way that people that have pledged themselves in the position or in the name of so-called charity organizations who take money in the name of the poor from all kinds of people in the nations of the world, from various nations, from various people all over the world. And instead of using the money to support the cause of the poor, for which they have taken the money, they use the money for themselves, their wives, their children. You didn't hear that. I'm saying that there is an institution called the United Nations. It has various umbrellas. And we know that the United Nations doesn't print money. They take money from all people of the nations of the world. And the Bible is saying that we need to understand that the United Nations, their employees, their staff, they are not God and they are not angels. So there are Judases among who would like to exploit humanity and use the money, discriminating among the human race, applying them where they choose to apply, and let the poor perish in Africa, in Asia, in Australia, in your nation and in my nation. The Bible knows that there are Judases amongst us upon the earth in the United Nations. There are Judases amongst the members of your government. The Bible is teaching us that we shall pay taxes. The government will loot from us our taxes, and they are supposed to apply the taxes judiciously, prudently, for the build-up of the nation. However, the taxes that have been taken from we the people shall be used by the Judases in the government for their wives, their children, their cronies, their family members, their tribesmen. And these are the Judases who indignify human lives in the nation, use the taxes for a life of kings and queens, while they leave you and I to perish in our own land of our birth, our own land of our nativity. They drive in cars that are like airplanes with our tax money. You understand? They pay themselves with our tax money and treat us like animals in our own land. You are in America, you know what I'm talking about. You are on that nation somewhere and you know what I'm talking about. What we suffer as taxpayers at the hands of our own government. That is what the Bible is telling us. That we deserve lives that are worthy of human dignity from our governments on the nations of the world. We deserve life as Africans, worth of human dignity from the United Nations. We deserve life, worth of human dignity in Asia from the United Nations. That is what the Bible is saying. Did you hear that? I'm saying that in Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, the nations of we deserve life of human dignity. You understand? We should not be used. Our children might be portrayed on the television totally malnourished. You know, kwashiorkor. We are dying. We are holding leaves in our hands. That is our last meal. They use that to exploit humanity. Take gather fortunes, millions, billions. And when they have gotten the money, they use it for their private cause. They apply it, discriminating against the human race, that the helpless continue to be helpless. And some do it in the house of God, with the money of the church, the money of the congregation, the money of of the house of God. And they want to live like gods and leave you to perish as a poor in the house of God, telling you that the poor we shall always have with us. That is not what the Bible is saying. The Bible is telling us that Judas was keeping the money of the church, and yet he was watching on for the poor to continue to be poor always, and not use the money to support the poor. Jesus was not justifying poverty in the church, poverty in your nation, poverty in the society, poverty in your home. Jesus was not justifying us, was not supporting that. That is what you need to understand. Therefore, we can gladly rejoice that the Bible knows that the United Nations is not constituted by staff, employees that are angels. That your mosque, the cow that is offered during Salah, during Eid al-Fitr, to be slaughtered, to be shared amongst the helpless in the mosque, that is not supposed to be shared discriminatedly. There was 2 children, sons of evil, Hophni and Phinehas and Hophni, the children of Eli. They were in the house of God. When sacrifices are made, they by greed gather it all unto themselves, and the poor were being kept poor. Besides that, while they were chopping the meat, they were chopping the women in the house of God as well. So the Bible knows that such evil should not be engaged in by Judases in the church, Judases in the United Nations, Judases in your nation's government, Judases at the Congress, Judases at the Senate, Judases at the Parliament. If they rob we the people for themselves, their wives and their children, the end result is the poor always continue to be poor. As Jesus was teaching us that, Judas, you have stolen the money and you are keeping the poor to be poor. Jesus was not endorsing poverty. Did we hear that? We shall unfold and get deeper next time. But Nigeria, get the understanding. They were anticipating that as from this 3rd of October, we shall start exposing their evil against Nigeria. So from morning, they have been against us with their cyber attack, terror attacks here and there. But we are not moved. We know that that is what Judases do. They kill, they steal, they destroy. But the Lord came that we might have life and we have it more abundantly. So we are not moved by what killers do. Akufo to the program, Testimony, New World Disorder. God bless you. Dignify life by equitably distributing the resources that have come from people into your hands to be a blessing to those at your mercy. Value their life. Don't endorse their poverty. Don't watch them die in their help, in their blindness, in their deafness, in their crippled state. When you have the funds, you have the money, don't let them die poor and tell us that they are Africans by the religious nonsense of Deborah Barack Obama and the dangerous US undercover agent. Africans are the seed of the Antichrist. The pale horse and the black horse in the Bible, it refers to them. So the United Nations can leave us to die. You understand? The nations of the world can watch on for Africans to die. That is evil. That is Judas' mindset. That is what the Bible is teaching us not to do. But we must dignify the European life, Asian life, Australian life, all lives upon the earth, African life. That is what the Bible is teaching us. That we must value life and not trample down on life. God bless you. And God bless my homeland, Ghana. Bye bye. You shall continue.